Okay, everyone, I'm going to get started here. I'm doing a channeling reading with Aaron Hernandez. Aaron's energy came to me in the last 24 or so hours. I thought it was very interesting because I have not, honestly, other than when he met his demise, I haven't done any additional insight or I just didn't do my due diligence. I didn't follow up with this situation. I go to where my energy is called. Like whoever comes to me, um, that's how I work. So usually there's a reason for it. Lo and behold, I then come to find out that there is a show that is coming out regarding Aaron, and that'll do it. That'll get a spirit riled up and get them to want to reach out or try and make contact to share what they feel is their truth or what is the truth. Now I did already channel a few things, so I'm going to just kind of get right into it because I don't want this to be prolonged, and neither does he. It's funny because he literally came to me, approached me, and was just dumped all this. It was literally like having tons of files with him, and he dumped them on me and went from there. So I'm going to begin. We have Aaron Hernandez. Aaron, I believe it's November 11th, if I'm not mistaken. I will double check the birthday, but I do know that earlier I did pull up his cardology. Aaron is an ace of diamonds. That's very interesting to me for a lot of reasons. Ace of diamonds having a queen of spades, which is like a high priestess witch card, and Pluto. Also that card having a queen of diamonds and Mercury. So I know that he had a dominant female force early on in his very early years, and the importance of material values or earning money or having wealth, or maybe he came from and I'm going to be honest, I don't know a whole lot about his personal life. I prefer it that way, and so we proceed. I don't know what his upbringing was necessarily like. From what he is showing me, it was not easy. There was some abuse that went unknown because of embarrassment, because of him being a male and not wanting to really share that. There's a really dominant female force around him. He probably wasn't, he's probably someone that is intelligent, I'm seeing, but academics wasn't he didn't really care, but he's I could have definitely applied myself more for sure, because he is very intelligent. I can see his brain span, energetically, very intelligent. Heavy on the intelligence, very intelligent. I also made note of the fact that not only is he an ace of diamonds in terms of cardology, but the nine of diamonds is very prevalent throughout his entire spread, even in terms of supporting cards, recognition cards, leadership, financial security, you name it. All of those cards, the nine of diamonds is apparent there. The New England Patriots by name has a solar value of nine of diamonds. So this is kind of destined. I'm going to start by immediately, he just wants to let everyone know off the rip that obviously he's here to clear his name. It's been many years that have passed. There hasn't been any real justice. There's also, he's highlighting and pointing out several other football players that have information similar to the information he's given me. And they have tried to take on the NFL as an organization, in terms of their teams as well. And I don't want to say that this is something that we see in, he's it's not necessarily every single NFL team, but it is a large majority stake of them. There are some practices that he was going to expose. Immediately, the first thing he started showing me was the SA. The SA, you guys know what that stands for, blank assault, that he experienced as a member of this team. This is something that is rampant throughout this particular organization. I'm not going to sugarcoat shit, actually, because I'm actually kind of disgusted. I really am, to be honest. So there's absolute vile ritualistic activity that has taken place. He was a victim of various forms of SA at the hands of very significant and important individuals in the organization that he was employed with. Okay. It's crazy because I actually, like, I have cards in my hand, but this is just a channeled reading. And it's just like interesting. Like, I split the deck in half, and it's like, you know, I'm gonna say it, Illuminati-esque like vibes, occult-like vibes in a disagreeable sense. This is big money. These are families. This is wealth. These are powers that be that are very hard, Ten of Pentacles, to even take down or penetrate because of the amount of wealth they have. So he had a lot of information that would not have been favorable for these organizations, aka the NFL and his particular team, because he was being assaulted. He was victimized, if you will, because, and like I said, also coming out, we had the death card when I split the deck. So there's that. There's a lot of harvesting done here. There were a lot of things, like he actually explicitly shows me a scene when there's like a some sort of shower-esque, like he was bathing. I don't know if this is a locker room or something, and he is assaulted. he is. There are players on the team. He calls out certain names. Also, he's highlighting that there's a roast of Tom Brady. I don't know, because I'm not a Tom Brady fan, so I don't know exactly what was said, okay? However, he wasn't humored at all. Like, some of he wants you to make note of the individuals, if you have watched this, the ones that even commented on him at all in the context of what was said. He's also highlighting something that was said that really upset Tom Brady during this roast, something that was like sexually driven and inappropriate. And he said that would have pissed him off because it's basically like a hit dog on a holler. You know what I'm saying? Like, this would piss you off because this is something you actually, the reaction you gave actually revealed that there's truth to this. Predators, team full of predators, team full of nasty ass predators. Ownership, coaches, predators. He was, like I said, being essayed. And this is something that I do feel like he experienced. He had a predisposition for this, unfortunately, from younger years, a younger experience that he may not have shared. He's also highlighting extensively that he feels like that is where it's cruel. Like, he's like, it's fucking sick, is what he said. He's like, it's fucking sick. It's crazy that they put out a rumor about him that he was homosexual. Maybe, I don't know. I don't recall hearing that, but he is saying that happened. He's saying that happened and that this was intentional to like slander him and of course just make him look like that was the case, when in reality these people are the ones that engage in ritualistically driven homosexual activity. Some of them it's just for sheer delight. He then goes on to explain to me that he literally was being like, this is a mild form of possession he underwent, and this was like ritualistically put upon him, like calling up a demon to attach to someone. That is exactly what happened to him. So mild possession is what I pick up. He even says not quite subjugation yet, but a lot of the time he was not in control. He wasn't driving the boat a lot of the times. There's another reason for this. His mind was physically altered. He also then shows me a picture of Antonio Brown. He says this is something he would know a lot about. I don't know. Hashtag allegedly, because again, I don't know any of these fucking people. I don't know any of these people. I'm doing this because Aaron's energy has asked me to do this, and I am always willing to put what I know and feel to be truth out. Aaron became privy to information that the NFL essentially is it's a form of trafficking, if you will, human trafficking almost. And cloning processes is what he's showing me. He knew all of this. He became privy to this, in addition to the abuse he endured from, like, you know, like I said, people affiliated with his organization. And there are others that were just so willing as well, like, to be victimized because of how the ambition, the greed, the need to be the best, the need to just succeed. He does have regret in that, because he feels like he was a little too ambitious, but he also feels like he was naive. He also feels like, what I'm about to share next had a lot to do with it. So there are certain members of the team. I feel like all of them kind of undergo this, and they may not know, but there is definitely like an alteration of consciousness with these players. He's showing me like information, like medical records and stuff related to CTE. He is highlighting to me that it's basically like on a spiritual level, it's also like a form of fracturing, but he is telling me that he basically was aware that the NFL is allegedly performing lobotomies, lobotomy-like procedures. For some people, it's like they can basically, it's almost like a form of Neuralink where they literally are spiritually injected. These are the best ways for me to describe what he's explaining, with an entity, and that entity then controls them. They also have their DNA extracted. They are cloned in order to make superhuman athletes in the future, I guess. So he shows me him gaining access to this information, but apparently a lot of them have access to it. He just threatened to utilize it or share it, or they were afraid he was going to share it because of an incident when he was about to be SA'd again. And there was a resistance, a rebellion, if you will. And as a result, he tells me that they proceeded to he's literally showing me like a sun setting, but he's like, they literally snuffed my light. Like they snuffed out my light. He shows me like there are procedures that they undergo and they literally alter their consciousness. And then later on, it's also, this is easily unidentified. It goes on unidentified, if you will, because of the fact that most of these players do develop CTE. But he's literally showing me that they only, there's something I don't know if there's a technology they have where they're able to like, it's almost like a spiritual scan, and they can see players that already are developing CTE, and they will choose them to like lobotomize because then it's easy to cover up. And I'm using the term lobotomy again, hashtag allegedly, but a lobotomy, but because that's like what the end result is like. He's also saying like, yeah, if you look up lobotomy, like it's a lot of like the behavior I was exhibiting. He stresses that he had absolutely no reason. Like apparently there's still not a real like driving cause behind why he allegedly committed this murder. He tells me flat out he did not do this. Like physically, he was present, but he was being subjugated. Like there was another entity driving the boat. Okay. Like he barely recalls, like he has no real recollection. And once that happened, he knew what was happening to him. He understood what was happening, especially how quickly they shelved him. He also tells me about like secret policies. There's secret policies, insurance policies. There's some sort of policies that these teams get on all these players. And then it's almost like a form of, after they utilize the energy to the max amount they can, there's a form. If you also pose any threat, there is essentially like a sacrifice, if you will. There's a release. And that's what happened to him also. He emphasizes, like places huge emphasis on the fact that he absolutely adored his child. He would never have killed himself. So he goes on to briefly explain to me, and again, I will do a much more expanded reading on this, of course, but he goes on to show me that there was another inmate, 1 to 2, that were absolutely involved in what happened to him. There was something he was like ingesting. Like, I don't want to say it's a drug, but it's like it's not cannabis. I don't know, something like that. That he was smoking, and it was being given to him in like tainted poison, if you will. And he was privy to this information also. But the fact that they weren't necessarily anticipating, I think, like, he was acquitted of some sort of charges. They weren't anticipating that. And when that occurred, that's when things had to become a little more active. So he insists that he did not unalive himself. He's like, they Epsteined me. That's what he says. They Epsteined him. And there was some sort of benefit to the team for this. Like, literally in an energetic sense, this was almost like ritualistic sacrifice. But also monetarily, there was some sort of benefit from this. Like a policy. There was a cash out. There was something. And this is something they do to these players. They will also then kind of leave them, throw them to the wolves, and make them seem like, oh, they have head injuries, they have this or that, they are completely unstable, they have no idea. That's not the case. They're exploiting these injuries they get because they are also doing additional procedures on their mind to alter their consciousnesses, which is how they're able to also complete a lot of the abuse to these players and the oppression overall. It's kind of how they keep them in line, if you will. It's like a way to harness and control the energy. It's very, very sick. I feel like I'll have to elaborate on this, but this will have to be a YouTube video. So we'll get more into that. I'll let Aaron know. We can circle back for a round 2 for sure, but just highlighting the main concerns he has with people thinking he unalived himself. Also, there's something about things that were written on the wall, like things that were done like ornately, like decorative. This was literally to mock his death, really. Like something about another religious organization, or they tried to make him seem like he was like religiously fanatical or something. He was very spiritually evolved. Like, he had a lot of information that they didn't know he was aware of. And they tried to actually tie him with an organization that has a positive overall actual outlook, but they try to paint it as a negative. So he kind of is like, also, he does not like what like occurred, the actual like legal processes or something that happened to his partner. I'm not sure if this is wife or fiance, wife. I mean, he says wife, but he feels like it's his wife. Fiance, okay, but he feels like wife. There was he almost, how do I put this? They were threatening behind the scenes to him, these powers that be associated with the organization he was formerly tied to and the information he discovered. There were definite dealings behind the scenes. Like, a lot of other players knew what was happening. They understood that he was being like basically scapegoated. This is like a hand slap for you. You want to step out of line, information that you think you're going to share. You're going to tell people about what goes on here. No, the fuck you're not. No, you're not. We're going to sit you all the way down. That's what he says. Like, that's basically that's how that went down. And once he realized this realization, I feel like he had like an extreme amount of peace for whatever reason in prison. And he wasn't as defensive as he could have been considering the circumstance. And that was primarily because there was a threat to his partner's like well-being and safety in life. So it's almost like he exchanged his life for hers, because this is the card that came, 2 of Cups. It's like this was an energy exchange to ensure her protection and the safety of his child and her. So this was a mutual beneficial thing. he knew it was coming. Like he anticipated this. It's like they even show me where he's like kind of humored because he's like, I don't even know why I thought I could take on this. Like they keep showing me that 10 of Pentacles card. Like how could I take on the family? Like the powers that be, this wealth, this money, this perversion. How can I take this on? That's essentially what it was. So I want everyone to keep that in mind as we go into this new series. I'm going to share more information. I wanted to give this this wasn't even as brief as I wanted it to be. But all of the illness and everything posed on him were done to him. These were processes, ritualistic and like scientific or medicinal, whatever processes that us regular people don't even have access to. But essentially they are manipulating the minds. They're playing on the fact that these players have these injuries to the brain, and then they use that as a space to manipulate. And unfortunately, they made an example out of him. They ruined him, in a sense. He feels like everything he worked for was for nothing. So the last message I have, with these cards coming out, even though they took everything from him, broke him down, 5 of Pentacles, you guys took everything from him. You tried to ruin this man, his name, his legacy, his everything. You did anything you could to tarnish his name, in the media, the press, with everyone. Absolutely despicable. Because I've seen what you perverts have done behind the scenes. And I'm going to just leave it at that. Because there's just complete destruction that's headed your way. He actually calls out certain players like Tom, Julian. I'm not super into sports because I'm not gonna subscribe. Like this is not like we're fucking gladiator, like Coliseum. I'm not into it. So Julian. I don't know, Julian. The next reading I have, he's got some words for you. Tom, you're not worth the words, is what he says. He expected you. He actually saying a lot of curse words right now, and I ain't trying to get this completely taken down, but yeah, you two specifically, I don't know why, but you two specifically, he shows me this card, and that's y'all. That's y'all. Like there's just destruction coming your way, absolute in every way, shape, or form. It's the karma you deserve. He expected you guys. He's saying bad words about you, a lot of bad stuff about you, but he expected y'all to fold like bitches, he said. He did. And it's fine. He's taking his time. He is kind of in an underwhelmish sense, like Duat in that area. So he is taking his time in stride, doing what he needs to do to pay his karmic debts. This is going to be, we're going to come back better. He has every intention on reincarnating when given the opportunity. But there's divine justice that's here at play. Like we're going to see a vindication. We're going to see some sort of maybe information or discovery. There might even just be information in general about the organization, like the NFL as a whole. There's going to be a role reversal here. They need balance, and it's about to be given to them in a humbling sense. Like they're going to be the ones on their knees. So there's that. He does not like how you guys handled him, his image, everything he worked so hard for, and you guys fucking took it away after what you did to him. No. There will be justice here. There will be justice. So some of the information that will come out will implicate 2 particular men, 2 men in particular that were sorry guys, my husband's showing me something, that orchestrated all of this, that literally orchestrated all of this. It's crazy because this is the equivalent of like, I'm gonna look after this, but did he even, like literally there was no real cause or reason for why he allegedly unalived brother-in-law, I think it is, because he's like distraught about that, like distraught. Like this is basically, he's telling me like that was an innocent, like that was that wasn't, they used him as an ends to a mean. He gets really like emotional about this. Really emotional because he says he feels like this is his fault because his ambition and his greed got him here, but it was just his desire to have better in life, because he went so long in life having to do things he didn't want to do because of money. But these two men, and I know who you are, you air sign and you fire sign. You air sign and you fire sign. You know who you are. Mr. Robert Kraft, Mr. Bill Belichick, shame on you. That's who they orchestrated this. And it's crazy. Even on the King of Wands, they're pointing out like the lizard down there. And he shows me the all-seeing eye every time, like literally every single time. Look, even he's highlighting like, you know, the fighting line of Judah kind of figure-esque right here. And he's like, this is literally the opposite of that. They're like a perversion of God, these people. Wow. These two are at the top of that, the scheme. So that's all. I'm going to stop there, because he's a lot more to give me. Again, emphasis on the all-seeing eye. I don't know what that is about. All-seeing eye, there's a Quran, and there's also a Bible he keeps showing me. But emphasis on that. And he was really at peace, kind of, because he, like I said, he knew this was going to happen. He knew this was coming. And this was kind of like his energetic exchange to protect his loved one. Because I want to say they're showing me that they were trying to legally prosecute her, too, for something. I didn't follow this case this much, so I don't know. And, you know, he was forced to do this. But that's it for now. I'll be back with more with Mr. Aaron Hernandez. And you guys stay tuned for part 2. Also something before I go, he wanted me to point this out. I don't know if it's like I haven't been to prison, so I don't know, but the warden or someone who runs the prison, maybe someone like that. God, what is he saying? Like he's saying that the guy was like exploiting him. I don't know. But like this particular person also made it very easily accessible for Aaron to get certain paraphernalia inside of there. And he's saying to me, like, I should have fucking known better. Like, you know what I mean? But, like, it didn't hit him until a little bit of time in that they were then actively trying to, like, poison him, too. And I guess it just that was taking too long. I don't know. They did try, like they were making things very easily accessible to him, because they were altering it as well. There was some form of like hypnosis done to him too, very like get out like in fashion. And when that is done, it's something that's done like after some sort of training session he had. And at that point, that is when he had like this lobotomy-esque like procedure that was inflicted upon him and DNA extraction. It's crazy because he keeps showing me One Piece. Like he's showing me One Piece in the anime, how they clone like the different higher power like characters, how they clone them. And that's what they're doing. They are doing that. Also, there is some form of trafficking done through the NFL too. I'll get back on that too. But this is very Three of Pentacles energy. These are planned. This was very planned and orchestrated. Like there were so many moving pieces. Like it's like they painted the perfect picture, the perfect crime, only it wasn't perfect. And he's just really outraged. Also, it's like the fact that they make a mockery of his legacy, that too, but primarily his main concern is getting this out because is this a daughter he has? It feels like a daughter. He's showing me. He really is more concerned with clearing up his image and his reputation for the sake of like his namesake for his child. That's it. That's all. He just wants the truth to be out there. So we'll be back with more truth when I have it. Okay. So we'll do this again tomorrow. How about that?